Wait. One second. So we're gonna wait. What about 5 more minutes? 5 to 10 more minutes, I guess, to see if the room fills up a little bit more. Um, so I guess I can start. Well, first of all, thank you for signing up. Thank you for getting a ticket. Thank you for coming on, being interested. Um, I guess we can start off with like a little brief introduction. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I reside in Atlanta, Georgia. Born and raised in Miami, Florida. I was a two-sport athlete my whole life. Played football, ran track. Um, After the death of like a close friend of mine, I started writing poetry. That was like a catalyst to like shift my life. And it was over like a necklace that I gave him, and he got robbed for it, and some crazy stuff happened. But I started writing poetry after that, to say the least. My poetry turned into short stories. Short stories turned into stage plays. So I decided to go back to school. I went to FAMU, studied theater, um, put up a few plays, got published in a few magazines, won some awards. And then I actually went on to study screenwriting at Full Sail University down in Orlando, Florida. And after that, yeah, I came up to Atlanta, packed all my stuff. I had a daughter along the way in the midst of it all. And yeah, I'm in Atlanta now, got in contact with Damn Right Originals. I've had a few short films up, directed a few web series. I just finished shooting another short film with Aspire TV. Um, and yeah, it should be coming out this summer actually. So yeah, that's me. That's me. That's my little story. So I guess what about you all? Are y'all like new to this? Have you been writing for a while? Have you kind of like been, I don't know, maybe into poetry like I was and trying to like branch off into something different? Because I know like that's usually how most people come into it. So y'all tell me a little bit about yourself. Whoever want to jump out first.
Okay, I guess I'll go.
Okay.
um, my name is India. I'm not new to writing. I've written poetry, short stories, had a couple published in college, and I've written novels that I'm working on getting published. Just finished my third full-length novel, so working on that. But I'm new to screenwriting, so I just wanted to explore what's that all about and see what stories I have to tell.
Okay, got you. Got you. Okay. All right.
Um, my name is Sage. I live in Atlanta, Georgia right now. I am born and raised in Philadelphia. I've always kind of been like a writer, like growing up, like writing short stories, like here and there, but I guess I never considered myself a writer. So I'm like newly getting into screenwriting and like doing all of that. So I've been loving that. So I guess I'm like very like in the beginning.
Got you. Got you. Okay. All right. All right. So yeah, y'all fresh out. Y'all fresh newbies. Okay, so yeah, this is gonna be a good workshop for y'all. Pretty much what I would like for y'all to understand or leave or take away with, and it's kind of I like smaller workshops because they allow me to like really dig in a little bit more. Okay, we got somebody else. We got number three. Let me just wait till she hops in before I continue. I think her name was Brianna. Brianna Smith. Can you hear me? 1, 2, 3, testing.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Bien, bien. Nah, we was just over here talking to this man. We was just introducing ourselves. I just gave a little background information about myself. In a nutshell, I used to play football. I used to run track. I started writing poetry after like life circumstances, and now I'm here in Atlanta, and I made a few films and some cool stuff, and I got an MFA in screenwriting. So yeah, I guess if you can just introduce yourself, where you're from, and let us know, I guess, how many years you've been writing, or just what you're looking to get out of this right now.
Okay, well, I'm Brianna. I'm from Alexandria, Virginia. I've been writing. I haven't had anything professionally published, but I've been writing since about the fifth grade. Last year, I just graduated with my MFA in writing popular fiction. I want to get into screenwriting, but as of right now, I mostly write speculative fiction, horror, and then a little bit of chick lit slash women's fiction.
Okay, so you are a novel writer. Yeah, you with the, yeah, okay, long form. Okay. Well, do you see yourself adapting some of your novels into screenplays, or are you looking like, what about film is like kind of like sparking your interest?
Well, when I first started writing way back in the day, I started writing scripts. So I would write stage plays, and I also thought about getting into television writing. And then I psyched myself out because people were like, well, if you write for TV, it's going to have to be collaborative. Or if you write a screenplay, and you try to sell it, they're going to hire somebody to rewrite it. And I was like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to write books. So then at least I still have control over the story. So if it gets adapted, it's still my story and you can't really change too many things about it.
Yeah, that is true. um, I've been in a few situations and scenarios to where I would say a little bit of your art gets compromised, a little bit of my art, not compromised, but more so like you just have to make adjustments. And that's a part of the industry. I'm not going to sit up here and say that, oh, well, some Hollywood studios give you full creative control. In cases like, I know that, I think that happened with, what's the film? Queen and Slim with Lena Waithe. I think she had, I watched the interview with her, and I think she had full, the last cut and the last edit before it went on to the screen. So in that case, it was like a rare scenario, but she knew some people that knew some people that knew some people. And, it was, she had already established herself. But when you're coming out, yeah, definitely you run into those type of situations. However, I wouldn't like let that steer you away from the craft itself, because ultimately at the end of the day, a good story is a good story. If someone likes your script, someone likes the story, someone likes the words on the page, they're gonna hold it to its integrity, and they're gonna give you at least some creative control in terms of what goes onto that screen and gets that final cut. So yeah, I mean, and it's a lot of ways that you can approach screenwriting as well. You don't have to go to a major Hollywood studio just to have a film made. There's a lot of independent filmmaking companies out here now. And that industry, especially in Atlanta, it's a lot of independent filmmaking that's coming out in Atlanta, like right now, to where you have full creative control. So, and that's a good way to like start out also, if you just get on set and network and meet some people who have some industry experience out in LA and have come back to Atlanta, to start their own independent companies or whatnot. It's a great route. And that'll give you a lot of exercise to, see how the industry kind of plays out too. But yeah, okay. So that's cool. That's real cool. So we got two more people? I see Sharonda Sharp and Mrs. Kadisha Powell Sadiq. Hello and welcome, ladies. I was just pretty much introducing myself, and we were just kind of getting acquainted with each other. So I guess one of you all can start off and just, introduce yourself, how long you've been writing, and what you're looking to get out of this workshop. Kadisha says hello.
I'll go first. This is Sharonda. I've been writing pretty much my whole life, but mostly just like short stories, short novels, poetry, things like that. And I wanted to venture into screenwriting. Like I, went on Amazon, bought all the books, bought the little journals and the things that outline a story and all those things, but just any tips, tools of the trade that I can actually implement. I know how to put a story together as far as a novel goes, but it's not always that easy to translate it from that page to a script page. So just breaking that down, like I can write dialogue, but again, it's not the same from a novel to a script. So just trying to take the skills that I already have and then learning new ones to then marry the craft together.
Got you. Excellent. Yes. Like I was telling Brianna, a story is a story. And at the end of the day, the words got to go on that page and it got to be good. So, but yeah, there are a little bit of differences in the art forms, but yeah, we're gonna touch on it. We're gonna touch on it. I'm glad to have you share that. Kadisha Powell Deep, what's up? What's up?
Hey, how you doing, everyone? I'm at the airport actually getting ready to head to Atlanta. I have actually taken one script writing class, and I don't feel like I really got the benefit from it. So I would like to really kind of see here, but I don't think he kind of had the vision for what I was trying to accomplish. I think maybe some cultural differences were there, and I will leave it at older, you know, gentlemen. Grew up in deep Virginia, so I don't know if he's trying to really assist me. It felt like that, but I don't know. So I'm just gonna here to take up the wisdom and try to apply it and continue writing.
Okay, nice. Yep, it's a journey. It's a lifelong journey. As long as you live and you can write, you can tell a story. You got a story in you. Okay, so that is great. That's great. Yeah, so let's kick it off. What I have, well, before we do that, like I said, I was telling Indian Sage, what I hope to give you all by the end of this workshop are the basic fundamentals of screenwriting in terms of story structure, character analysis, and what actually goes into creating a screenplay, and the ins and outs maybe of the industry, and how to approach your projects moving forward. So if you have an idea, where do you start? What do you look at? I have some books, I have some documents, I have some outlines, beat sheets, and all of that good stuff that I'm gonna share with you all. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna have some fun. I got some writing exercises for us too, so we're gonna be using that chat box a little bit also. Okay, so let me share my screen really quick, and we're gonna pop this thing on off. All right, can y'all see that pretty good? All right, cool. Okay, all right. The Art of Story, an intro to screenwriting. So basically, pretty much, this is a course that I've created back in 2019. And it started from me hosting my first workshop a couple years ago. And I kind of fell in love with, just sharing the knowledge, wisdom, and experiences that I've had in this journey. And I just kind of created this course that's broken down into 4 different segments. So I have a structure segment, I have a character development segment, I have a writing process segment, and I have an industry segment. And within each one of those segments, I spend like a week or a couple days on, the lessons that I have in it, and we go from there. So it usually lasts about a month and a week, like 5 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks. But what I'm trying to do is I pretty much like condense that into like a little short 2-hour presentation. So I'm going to try to touch on everything I possibly can. All right. Oh, somebody else is there. Yeah. So keep it going.
That's just me. I just switched devices.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right, so premise, purpose, what is story? Why write? You got perspective, you got a premise. What is this? What is this thing that we all do? We say we're writers, we say we're poets, we have novelists. All of this is a form of storytelling, all right? I want to know what you all think storytelling is. So I guess you can just speak out, whoever wants to answer the question. What is story? What is your definition of story? What is it? And what are we doing as human beings with this thing we call story? Anyone? I saw Khadijah about to.
Oh, sorry. Is it kind of like a retelling? Oh, no, I lost it. Dang it. It's like a telling of events, either fictional or something that actually happened.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can take that definition. That's a solid definition. It's a telling of events that actually happen or fictional. Yeah, series of events. Yeah, primarily. Yeah, I can go. I can rock with that. Yep. Anybody else?
I was going to say ways that we connect with one another.
Oh, definitely. Yes. Yes, definitely. We connect with each other through story. Yeah, we transfer information, we transfer wisdom, knowledge, experience. Yes, that too. One more. Let me get one more response.
It's hard
Anyone?
to say, honestly. Like for me,
Mhm.
it's like what is story is kind of like similar to like what is love. It's hard to define, but you know it
Mm,
when you hear it or when you
mhm,
see it. Like,
mhm,
you know, most people don't see a story in the rain, but if you kind of look at the right moment, you find a story in the rain.
mhm, mhm. Yes, yes,
So
definitely. Yeah, because even when it comes to poetry, I know we have a lot of poetry backgrounds here. Stories is all through poetry, but you really kind of have to like find it and you have to look for it. My definition of story is the fabric of everything. I think it's the fabric of life. I think it's the fabric of the human condition. I define it as a emotional, an alchemical process of emotional transformation. That's what I define story as. I find it something that, you know, we as human beings use to kind of heal from, to highlight things about life, about existence, about this mystery that we're all in embarking upon, because we don't have all of the answers. And I think this story is a way for us to kind of reflect on our experiences in life and, you know, kind of just look at it from a different perspective or just highlight certain perspectives of existence and from our lives that we find significant or ironic or worthy of discussing, you know. And I think that story is a catalyst for growth and transformation. You know, when you look at something on screen, no matter if you read a book, or if you read a book, or if you're looking at it on screen, if you're watching a stage play, you see a beginning, a middle, and an end. You see a main character, you see a nemesis, some conflict, a resolution to that conflict. There's some underlying organization to that chaos, you know. So I think that it's just, for me, it's a process of transformation, a process of displaying life, you know. So said all of that just to say, as a writer, and I'm pretty sure you all kind of like have an idea of this, but we are some special people, right? Just artists in general. I feel as though, you know, if we call ourselves writers, we are automatically taking up a responsibility to make a comment on the human condition, to make a comment about our own lives, to dig into the deepest, darkest parts of ourselves that are scary, that we don't want to touch, all of that stuff, you know. So it's, you as a writer, I say we're like borderline psychologists and therapists also, because you find out a lot about yourself and a lot about, you know, the things that kind of trigger you, the things that kind of like dictate your behaviors and your reactions to life also. So I just wanted to just lay that out there before moving forward, because I would like for all of us to know that in a big way. You know, we have a responsibility, and we've been blessed with this talent to put words to a page. So yeah, that's my whole spiel. Let me get off my soapbox and move forward. All right. So structure, okay? Like we said, story is about transformation. It's a process that displays certain things. And to that process, there is some organization, right? There's an organization that goes along with the chaos. Every story, no matter if it's a book, if it's a poem, if it's a stage play, or if you're watching something on screen, it has a setup, it has a conflict, and it has a resolution. I repeat, every single story has a setup, a conflict, and a resolution. No matter if you're doing something experimental, you know, if you're going for some type of abstract visual, it still has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Beginning being the setup, the middle being the conflict, and the end being the resolution. Okay. And before we dig into these little structure forms, I want us to go ahead and stop sharing real quick and uh, get a little writing exercise. All right. So, like we just said, like I just said, every story has a setup, a conflict, and a resolution. So, really quick, little fun exercise in the chat box. I'm gonna give us a setup to a story, and I want you all to come up with a conflict and a resolution. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys the beginning of something, and I'm gonna have you all write in the chat box a conflict and a potential resolution. We can have fun with it. It can be crazy, wild, whatever comes to mind, just put it in the chat box. All right. So the setup is a guy walks into a bar. So yeah, finish that for me. Give me a conflict and give me a resolution. Everybody can just go ahead and just write it in the chat. Let me set like a timer for like a couple minutes, just like 2 minutes. And we can just play around with that really quick. I want to see what y'all come up with. See how creative we can get. So guy walks into a bar as a setup. Give me a conflict and a resolution. Starting now. Okay, how we, oh, okay. I see, all right, we got Brianna, Sharonda, conflict. The man is looking for a black market. He is days away from death if he doesn't receive the transfer. Oh, this is good. There's some good conflict right there. Okay. That's some solid conflict. How does it end though, Brianna? What's the okay, resolution? He hands over the case and hopes the seller doesn't see the fakes when it's clear the seller. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. That is great. I like that. I like that. Let's see what Sharonda said. What Kadisha? Okay. See, 62-year-old mother kissing his best friend. Wow. Okay. Oh yeah, that's good. That's messy, but it's good too. All right. Okay. Okay. Cool. Resolution. Corner booth. Who hasn't seen 20? These are good. These are all really good. I like these. Y'all creative. On the fly in 2 minutes too. Yeah, y'all good. I like these.
We does this. We're just trying to make sure we're doing it right, if that makes sense.
I got you. I got you. I see. Yeah, this is great. This is great. This is all great. Okay. So yeah, I'm dealing with some heavy hitters right now. All right, cool. So how was that? Was that fun? Well, let me ask y'all a question. Like, well, I guess how do you all come up with, I guess, like plot points and conflict and everything like that? Do you just kind of like throw out ideas, or do you just have like something that kind of stemmed from a previous idea, or how does that work for you all when you're trying to like map out the structure of the story?
For me, I usually do like, it's something super simple that leads to something really crazy. Like a guy walks into a bar, it should just be a night of him just going out and drinking, and yet it leads into this weird scenario that honestly should have never happened, but because of like one or two things that kind of changes his routine, like it changes everything else in his life.
Yeah, that's a great approach. I kind of do something similar. I try to use contrast a lot. So, I will place people in the most awkward situations. If I have a person who has a fear of rejection, I would force that person to kind of go and, face that fear in some type of way. So yeah, that is always a good way to create conflict because you're going for that contrast. And that we're going to touch on that also because that deals with character development also. The more you know your character, the more that you know about their traumas, their fears, what they're trying to work on or what they're trying to accomplish, you can place them in specific scenarios aligned with these plot points that kind of force them to grow. You got me? And that's what the purpose of it all is, right? So, okay, cool. That's great. That's great. Let me go back to the PowerPoint really quick. All right, cool. All right, so yeah, so set up conflict resolution. All right, so let me ask you all, how familiar are we with these different types of structures? Aristotle's Poetics, the hero's journey, the modern three-act structure, Michael Haig's six-stage plot point structure, and so forth. Are we like familiar, or are we like totally lost?
I know one.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay,
just
what?
know the 3-act structure.
Three-act?
Yeah,
Okay.
that one.
Okay, cool. How familiar are you with the three-act structure? Like, do you know it like the back of your hand, or are you like, I know it, but I don't know it?
I know it like, I would want to say like maybe 3 out of my 5 fingers.
Okay, okay. That's majority, so that's cool. Okay. All right. So yeah, I don't want to take too much time on them, but we're gonna dig into them. And like I said, I have some documents that I want to share with you all. And I think it's gonna help in terms of how you all approach mapping out your stories before you actually sit down to write. So let's get into it really quick. So Aristotle's Poetics. Let me hide this. Can I hide this? Wait. Okay, I don't know how to do it. All right, so Aristotle's Poetics, the 6 parts of the tragedy, or AKA the 6 parts of a drama, because tragedy is basically comes from the Greek mythology, and when Shakespeare and all of that was popular, and a lot of tragedies was being written. So plot, character, thought, diction, song, and spectacle. All right. So plot is basically, plot points, what happens, this happens, that happens, this happens, that happens. Character is basically character development. Thought is the message, the theme, the premise. Diction is basically the dialogue of it, how beautiful the words are being written out, and how we sing the dialogue. Song is pretty much, the music scores in a screenplay. Spectacle are like special effects, animation, car crashes and explosions and all of that good stuff. And so basically, if you kind of just understand that the plot is the primary importance, again, and it goes back to structure, you can move down from there. However, in our creative process, and I know in mine, sometimes I have a character that I would like to write about before I go into an actual plot or how the story is going to be mapped out. So the character will probably give me my plot before I have the plot, if that makes sense, right? Um, the hero's journey. The hero's journey is something that you kind of see more so in like Marvel comics and superhero movies. Spider-Man is a good example of the hero's journey. The Matrix is a great example of the hero's journey. You know, you have an ordinary person in an ordinary world, and they are called to this adventure, and they have to face a fear, and they have, maybe they're shy, there's pushover, they don't get the girl, and they just go on this big feat, and they come out this totally different person, that's transformed, and it's got confidence, and it's just the man or the woman, you know. And usually this comes from like the Greek tragedies and the Greek mythology. It stems really from Greek mythology. And yeah, so that's pretty much what the hero's journey. And all of these things, you can Google it, you can look it up, and you can dig into it. But yeah, I just wanted to just introduce these to you all. So yeah, the 3-act structure, modern 3-act structure. This is what you see in most Hollywood films. Pretty much all of them. Nowadays, they're using like 5-act structure, but it's basically the same thing. It's if you really dig into it, the essence of it is a beginning, a middle, and an end. However, the different plot points that you see within the rising and falling action of a complete story may be broken up into different acts. So Act 1 right here, you might keep that, but Act 2 can probably be broken up into 2 different parts. So you have Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and then Act 4, right? Instead of just the 3. But it's still essentially the same plot points are happening. So you have a beginning, the normalcy, you have the inciting incident, you have second thoughts, also called the refusal of the call. You have the push, which is like the climax of Act 1 that pushes the protagonist from his normalcy into you know, this new world or this new adventure that he's going to go on. And then you have conflict, you have obstacles, you may have like a false win, and then a big plot twist, and then, you know, the bad guys close in on you, and then you have like a crisis and a disaster. So all hope is lost. It's the moment where, and I guess the Avengers, and what was yeah, the Avengers, last Avengers, I can't remember. I think it was Infinity Wars or something like that. Where, you know, what's the main guy's name? What was his name? Thor? No, it wasn't Thor. The purple guy who was trying to look for all the stones. What was his name? Guys.
Thanos.
Thanos. There we go. Yeah, Thanos. Right. So that's the moment where Thanos has reigned supreme, and everybody's like, "What the heck is going on? How are we gonna get out of this now?" Right. Then you have this rally of the troops moment after that little crisis that happens, right? So we sit back, we're defeated, all hope look like it's lost, but we get some spark of inspiration, maybe a callback from something that happened earlier in the film or in the story, that, oh, we do have that thing, so now let's see if we can get that, because that's our last hope. And then it kind of works, and then you have the final battle, and you know, you have the denouement. That's the descending action, and then you wrap it up, and then you just show, you know, the new world. All right, so that's the basics of the 3-act structure: beginning, middle, and end. Setup, conflict resolution, rising action, falling action. Okay, study this in a big way. If you're not familiar with this modern 3-act structure, this is the first step to start on your screenwriting journey. Because if you go out and you write the script that's 90 pages long, a whole feature-length film, 90 to 100 pages long, and it has no structure, no Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3, and it has no flow and there's no organization to it, it's not going to get read. And trust me, that's like the worst thing ever, because I've done that. I've written about 96 pages before without knowing anything. It's a mess. It's a mess. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, so I've been there, I've done that. And, you know, as soon as I started to really dig in on story structure, I find that I even write faster. I just finished a feature screenplay, 103 pages over the course of a month. So like 3 to 4 weeks, it took me to write 103 pages, finished it. I'm looking to get some eyes on it, but all of that comes from me understanding the structure. I did the character development. I did the pre-writing work. You know, I knew my structure, I knew my beginning, I knew my middle, and I knew my end, I knew my character, and I outlined it. So when it came down to write the script, you know, it was a breeze. I got that done in about two weeks, you know. So the pre-writing process, and I'm saying all of that just to say, once you understand structure, writing the actual story is gonna make it 10 times easier. Okay. And that way you can get a lot of stuff done and a lot of, you know, things packaged to start getting out to producers and studio execs and things of that nature. All right. Any questions on the 3-act structure? Because this is like a major point now that I'm like really sitting with it. Like, any questions about this? Anything that doesn't make sense? No? Okay. All right. So yeah, let's go forward. Okay, so expanding on the 3-act structure a little bit more, right? Michael Haig, he has a book called Writing Screenplays That Sell. Michael Haig is, I think he's like a teacher. I think he's written a few screenplay Hollywood films, but he does more so like workshops, and he has a few books out. I think his book, I want to say, is Writing Screenplays That Sell. If somebody can look that up, but don't quote me. And I'm gonna give you all like a book list at the end of this too. And I think this is one of them. But Michael Hage's 6-stage plot structure is from his book, Writing Screenplays That Sell. And what he does, and what is very interesting, is he connects the inner journey to the outer journey. All right. So on screen, I guess let me ask you all a question. How many of you all think that, well, no, that's a dumb question. Never mind. So let me just say it. So everything that you see on screen manifesting tangibly. So in Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man is defeating the Green Goblin, right? That's an outer journey, okay? That's an outward thing that you can physically see, is tangible, and that's a tangible goal to the story. However, there's also an inner journey that's kind of manifesting or sparking the manifestation of all of these external experiences that the protagonist is going through. All right. So if you would see, like, okay, right here, right, you have stage 1, it's the setup. There's a turning point number 1. This is the inciting incident. This is something that you know, throws off the character from their normalcy. So Spider-Man, Peter Parker is Peter Parker, then he gets bit by a spider. So this is the number 1. This is the inciting incident, and this is stage 1. The inner journey, what this would look like, is we see Peter Parker. However, we see that he's somewhat emotionally distraught over something. We see that he's not fulfilled in his life. You know, maybe we see that he's not getting the girls, or he's not, you know, living up to his full potential, basically, right? So that's what's going on internally. And now the spider comes and bites him, and it presents him with a new opportunity into a new situation that allows him to deal with his unfulfillment, right? So then we go on over into Act 2, and something happens. I think in the first Spider-Man, his dad died, right? In the midst of it all. And that was kind of something that kind of was a catalyst also. And, you know, and then we move forward, and he's moving towards his essence. Now he's Spider-Man, and he's getting all of these new powers. You know, he's seeing things that he's never seen before. So this feels great. And he's like, yeah, I want to keep going forward with this, you know. However, I'm kind of scared, you know, because I'm not used to this. This is something very new, and I'm doing the best I can. And this is foiled with, you know, complications and higher stakes. So he might seem like he's winning and everything is all good. However, the Green Goblin bombs like a Senate building, and now he has to go save the day or something like that. All right. And, you know, so on and so forth. And then by the end of the film, we see this external motion that goes on, you know, with these series of events. And we also see a character who has went from I guess shy to courageous, or a pushover to courageous, or a fear of rejection to very bold and blunt. Okay, so saying all of that just to say, the outer journey of the protagonist on all of the plot points that you map out for your story, it is automatically foiled with an internal goal that the protagonist is trying to accomplish also, right? And like we said at the beginning, story is all about what? Transformation, right? So if we take that in mind, the character will go from point A to point B, or from one state of being to a completely different state of being. And that's the goal. That's really the goal. All right. Any questions on Michael Hayes' 6-stage plot structure?
Would that be very similar to like a coming of age type of?
Yeah. Coming of age stories really dig into that emotional journey. Because that's pretty much the essence of a coming of age story. You have a young adult or a young teenager, a kid who's like really trying to find themselves within these series of events that happen. And the external circumstances revolve usually something around family, something around friends, something around school. And then we just see how these external experiences are affecting them emotionally and internally. So yeah, coming of age story is like the primary form or genre that will to foil that inner journey also. I was gonna say something else. Really slipped my mind. I was gonna say something else, but okay. And like, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna pull up an outline and I'm gonna give you all like each plot point. So we're gonna get to that in a few. Okay, let me see. And then, yeah, after this one, actually. Well, yeah, after that. So yeah, after this. All right, so this is something that I didn't come up with it, but I kind of made it my own. And matter of fact, let me go to the actual document because I changed it. But Brianna, this is something that I found from a novel writer, actually. Let me see, here it is.
Is it Alexandra Sokolov?
No, it's not Sokolov. It was some girl on YouTube, honestly.
Oh,
it was, yeah, I don't know. Maybe she got it.
I might have heard about it then, because I YouTube all the time. I may have, but I don't remember her name.
Okay, got you. Yeah, because I mean, she might have got it from him, but basically, she was using this to, I guess, map out her novels, and I can see why, because this is like a lot more in depth, and it has a lot more, I guess, beats within each act, right? So in a screenplay, you have these major beats and these major plot points, but in a novel, because you have 2 hours, right? Or 2 hours max, two hours max. Anything over 2 hours is a long ass movie. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody wants to sit in the theater and watch something for 3 hours, right? So you have certain plot points and you get in and you get out. But in a novel, you can read for days, you can read for however long, and it's up to the reader's interpretation. So I can understand how it has a lot more beats within each act. So let me just go through this really quick so we can get an understanding of it. So in Act 1, which is also the setup, right? So, well, before I say that, Act 1 has a setup, a conflict, and a resolution. Act 2 has a setup, a conflict, and a resolution. And Act 3 has a setup, a conflict, and a resolution. All right. Just like your entire film has a setup, a beginning, a middle, and an end, each act has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Even further, each scene should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. All right. So that's the fabric, just to reiterate, setup, conflict, and resolution is the fabric of all of this, and I want y'all to just understand that in a very major way. So in Act 1, the setup in Act 1 is composed of 3 different plot points. The conflict in Act 1 is composed of 3 different plot points, and the resolution of Act 1 is composed of 3 different plot points. So, and so on and so forth. Same thing for Act 2, same thing for Act 3. Just to really dig into it a little bit. So in Act 1, you have the introduction, you have the inciting incident, and you have the call to action. Who in here does not know what an inciting incident is. Has anybody ever never heard of the word or the term inciting incident? Anyone who never heard of the term inciting incident? Okay, I take that as a no. So everybody has heard of the term inciting incident. Yes?
No, I haven't.
You haven't? Okay, Sage. Okay. All right. So what the inciting incident is, it's the thing that sparks all of the action off. Okay. It's the moment where Peter Parker gets bit by the spider and he loses his dad, right? It's the thing that comes in and shakes up and changes the world. It's the moment in Finding Nemo where Nemo gets lost, or he goes up and what did he do? He got, or he swam up to the boat and then the barracuda was right there and then he got scooped up or whatever. So that's the moment. That's the inciting incident. That's the thing that shakes the world up, shakes the normalcy up, and propels the plot forward. Okay, so and then you have the call to action that's after that. All right. Then you have the conflict of Act One, right? So we have the normalcy, we have this thing that comes and shakes up the world, and then we have this. There's a call to action. So if I'm a father and I lose my son to some kidnappers, that is the inciting incident for me. And the call to action would be me having to go and respond to that. I have to go and find my son. How am I going to do that? Right? Conflict, fear comes in, right? So I might refuse it. I'm like, my son has just been kidnapped by these poachers or whatever. If I'm a lion, I don't know. And then, how are we going to do it? I'm just a lion. I don't know how to speak to human beings. I don't know how to do anything, or whatever the case may be. So you have that fear, so you have a refusal. But then something happens in a great film, right? In a good story, in a great story, something happens that forces the protagonist to have no other option but to go along this thing. So he was out, the lion is out hunting with his son or whatever, but that don't even make sense because when the females go out here. Anyway, just follow me, all right? So the lion loses his son by some poachers, and he goes back to the village. However, there is no, instead of going after his son, he goes back to the village, but instead of there being a village there is no village because the village was burned down by the same people who stole his son. Okay, so now he's forced. He has no home to go back to. He lost his son, so now he's forced to go and pursue that. Okay. um Hold on, give me 1 second, y'all. 1 second. All right, I'm back. Okay. All right. So does that make sense for everybody? Inciting incident, refusal of the call, no other push, and then you go into acceptance, and then you have a plan of action, and then you move over into Act Two. Does that make sense for everybody? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right. Any questions? Any questions on that? All
Not
right.
yet.
Okay, nice. All right, great. All right, so Act Two. Now we're in foreign territory. All right, foreign land. We're not used to this. The lion is over in, I don't know, the US base in South Africa where they're doing all the poaching or something. This is a bad story. But so he's over here with his friend or whatever. He doesn't know what's going on. He's getting his sea legs. So that would be, okay, so in the Matrix, right? Getting his sea legs would be when Neo crosses over, he's in the Matrix and he's training with Morpheus, right? So he's training with Morpheus, he's getting his sea legs, he's getting used to it. He sees how this new world works and how this foreign land works. False win, that's when, they get their first little attack or something like that. After that first little attack by the agents or whatever, he does really good, and they're looking like they're on the up and up. However, something happens to where an agent kidnaps one of the members from the good guys, and now they have to go on a rescue mission, right? And that's the conflict of Act Two. Bad guys finish first is basically the point where all hope is lost. Well, not all hope is lost, but you have to go retrieve something that you lost pretty much. So the bad guys are winning basically. And then another one bites the dust that's when is all hope is lost. Going into the moment where all hope is lost. What the F just happened? So this is the moment after the destruction has happened. And are there any other options? No, there aren't. You lost. Bad guys have your guys, so now you have to go on this rescue mission. And then Act 3, that's the falling action. After that dark moment, come too far, you get that spark of inspiration. I've got an idea. Remember this? Yes. So we come back, and this is the plan. We're gonna go get so-and-so from the dark caves of XYZ, have a final battle. Did we win or did we lose? Yes, we win. We got it back. And, aftermath, new normalcy. So what now? Transformation success. Okay. This right here. And like I said, I'm going to email, I'm going to ask Tamika for like an email list so that I can give all of these documents to you all. So I want it, but yeah, this right here is something that really, really helped me out a lot because it gives detail into every single plot point. All right. Okay, cool. Any questions on that 3 Act 9 block? No? Okay. All right, so we have 3 Act 9 block. Let me pull up the 3 Act structure. And also really quick, well, I'm gonna go over that, but what I wanted to say also was television and film are two different monsters, all right? Essentially, they're the same because you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. However, in television, the ending just keeps on ending, and it keeps going. It's like I think Shonda Rhimes said one time, the difference between television and film is that in film, you write about a protagonist who is wounded and he heals, or he or she heals. In television, you're writing about a protagonist who's wounded and they keep bleeding, right? Because you are selling a product over season after season after season after season. So you want the protagonist to go through this catastrophe and to continue to go through this catastrophe over and over and over again, because you want it to last 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. Okay. Just wanted to throw that out there really quick. So this is the 3 Act structure outline that I use. And it basically has everything that, I just kind of mentioned, even in the Michael Haig and the rising and falling action. So in Act 1, you have stage 1. Well, this is Michael Haig's 6-stage plot structure. So you have the ordinary world and the normalcy. You have the turning point 1, which is the inciting incident. Turning point 2, which is the major decision, change of plans, plan of action. That's like the refusal to call, but we have to do it because we have no other choice. And then you cross over into Act 2, which is the belly of the beast. You train, you get your sea legs, you have obstacles, you have wins, you have losses. And then you have a good win, which is kind of like a false win. And then you have a midpoint to where a shift in power happens. Okay, so it looks like our protagonist is doing well, but this happens. I don't know why Superbad came to my mind, maybe because I was watching it like a couple weeks ago. But the midpoint in Superbad, the first thing came to mind is when Jonah Hill's character, he throws up in front of his crush's face at that party. I don't know if you all remember that, but that was kind of like the midpoint because everything was going great. He was getting the beer for the party was going great. And he finally made it to the party and he finally asked her out, but she wasn't feeling him and he was drunk and he threw up in her face. So that was like the major shift. And then he went into the dark moment. So that's the plot twist. So that's the midpoint. Turning point 4 is a plot twist, major turn of events, worst of all things. That's like the dark moment, right? And then you rally the troops and you come back in with that final inspiration. And then you have the climax, achieves or does not achieve the goal. And then you have the new world and the new normalcy, all right? So this is something that I use. I do not write any script, any story without plotting this out first. So before I do anything, I create a log line. I know what genre I'm going for. I create all of the major plot points in my story. I get bullet points, and I have little ideas of, okay, I think this scene should be like this thing should be like that. And I go in and I map this out. And after this is solid, and I've ran through this about 2 or 3 times, then I actually go ahead and write the script. Okay, this needs to be in every single one of you all's computer, on your desktop, in a folder or something like that. All right, because without this, you're shooting in the dark pretty much, with creating a good screenplay. All right, any questions on that? Okay, all right, let's keep it moving. All right, cool. All right, so now we're getting into log lines. But before I want to get into log lines, let me pause and take a moment, take a breather, and come back. And let me just check in. So how we feeling? Did we lose somebody? Or we got somebody?
Could Kadisha, her flight was taken off, so she had to leave. So that's
okay. Okay, I see it. I see it right here. Okay, cool. All right. Fala, did I pronounce it? Fala?
It's Fayla.
Fayla, okay. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Great. Okay, so where did you come in? I don't know where you came, so you gotta just let me know.
Yeah, I came in the middle. I couldn't find my link. But
okay. Okay, cool.
So I've heard most of it though. I came at the end of the sixth thing. The
sixth plot, yeah.
Okay. I came on, yeah.
All right, cool. All right. How long have you been writing? What brings you?
See, I'm not a screenwriter. I'm a book writer.
Okay,
switch
French,
over.
I got you. Yeah, like I was saying to everybody, story is story. Beginning, middle, and end. So yeah, you can still take a lot of stuff from this too, because at the end of the day, you still got to map out the story. You have to know what it is and develop those characters. So yeah.
Let me ask you a question. You have on there at the top of that, you have 27 chapters. Should it be that long?
No. That was just like something that I found on YouTube. Well, like I said, it's the 3-act, 9-block, 27 chapters. So if you write 3 acts with those 9 blocks, you should pretty much come up with 27 chapters. Because let me go back to the document so you can see what we're going on. So all right, let me see. Show my screen really quick. Yes. Oh yeah, because you do say, okay, you're right. You're not. Yeah. All right. So yeah, let me go back to this. So right here, right?
Mm-hmm. So each one of those should be a chapter, is
right.
Okay.
Right. Each one of these points should be, each one of these points should be a chapter. So the introduction is a chapter, inciting incident is a chapter. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you write them, that's like I was saying, that was my point. It's very extensive.
Okay.
Because it's novel writing. You get what I'm saying? So you would have 27 chapters if you have a chapter for each one of those plot points in that 3-act, 9-block structure. Yeah, and it's very extensive because, like you said, in novel writing, a chapter is what, about 7 to 11 pages,
right?
Around, roughly. Mm-hmm. So so you're gonna have like a lot there, and it's a lot of information. But in screenwriting, we don't have that much time. You get what I'm saying? So I can't. My introduction, like literally, my introduction can only be but maybe 3 pages. Because if I have a 90-page script, and that's something that I wanted to mention to y'all also. So the inciting incident should come at about 10% of your story. So if you have 90 pages, right, which is a full-length feature film, that's an hour and 30 minutes on screen, because you equate a minute to each page. So each page is equivalent to 1 minute on screen time, right? And if you have 90 pages, that means you have 90 minutes. So you have an hour, 30-minute film. So within those 90 pages, within the first 9 to 12 pages, roughly 10 to about 12%, you want to have that inciting incident in there. You don't want to go out 30 minutes in and you're just reading and reading the script going on and nothing is happening, nothing's going on. You got me? So between 10 to 12%, you want to try to get that inciting incident in there. Also, that goes for no matter if you're writing a 90-pager or if you're writing a 9-pager, right? So if you're writing 10 pages, a 10-page short story or short film, 10% is page one. You got me? So that inciting incident needs to happen by the end of page one, no further than page two. You got me? And it doesn't usually happen like exactly on the mark like that, but that's the goal. You get what I'm saying? It's not going to happen like that all the time, but that should be the goal. There's something else I was going to say. Well, yeah. Well, I just wanted to come back and check in and see how we're doing. So, and I'm spending so much time on structure because like that is the major thing that I see that a lot of writers struggle with, especially when I get people asking me for notes and feedback and coverage and everything like that. I go straight to their structure. Like, okay, where's the inciting incident? If I can't find your inciting incident within the first 15 pages, I'm not going to read it anymore because it's too much. And there's in the studio because that's what a studio executive is going to do. People lazy, they don't like to read no way. You know what I'm saying? So if you have a script that's 90 pages long and you 20 pages in, and our protagonist is in the same predicament that they started off with, is garbage. It's garbage. Yeah, I mean, so I'm stressing structure so that you all can like really get that in. I really want y'all to study that as much as you can. Like I said, I'm gonna give y'all those documents. I'm gonna email them to y'all, and y'all can have those. So yeah, before we move forward, any other questions on structure? Anything makes sense? Doesn't make sense? Any other questions? Cool. All right, cool. Okay, so after structure, right? Let me go back to the screen share. Log lines. In novel writing, I would say it's good to have a log line for a book also. I'm not too familiar with novel writing, but yeah, I would say come up with a log line for your novel also. And do we all know what log lines are?
Mm-hmm. But with novel writing, we call it like a pitch, but it's about the same thing.
Same thing. Okay.
Elevator pitch, like a 1 or 2 sentence.
Yes.
Wrap up. Yeah.
Right. It's just a pitch. It's pretty much a pitch. And you want to basically just catch the attention of whoever you're pitching it to within those 1 or 2 sentences, right? So it should give me the overall gist of your story within 2 sentences that's witty, that speaks to the genre, it speaks to the protagonist, it speaks to the conflict in the story, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So let me share my screen and we're gonna dig in and we're gonna look at some good examples of like some good log lines and some not so good ones. All right. Okay. All right, so log lines. We know what structure is. We know how important structure is. So, and log lines and structure go hand in hand. You got your structure. You've contemplated over this idea that you have for about a week or two, maybe 2 or 3 days, or however long you've been thinking about it. You pretty much got the beginning, the middle, and the end of it. You jotted some notes down. Now it's time to come up with a log line. I don't write anything unless I have a log line. If I don't have a log line, I don't write. If I don't have an outline, I don't write. Because for me, I feel like it's just a waste of time. Sometimes you can get good stories out of, something that is dialogue driven. If you just sit down, pen to pad or at your laptop, and the first thing that comes to your mind and the first thing that you see or whatever, you just go for it. That's a good way to exercise the creative muscle. But eventually you're still going to have to go back, punch it up, and make sure that it flows and it has a solid beginning, a middle, and an end. So what your log line is going to do is give you that beginning, the middle, and a potential end that is going to insinuate an end, but not actually give the story away. All right. So the 3 elements of a good log line is the description of the protagonist, the goal of the protagonist, and the conflict presented. Okay. So what I mean by a description of the protagonist would be a simple adjective. Okay. So a log line would be a guy walks into a bar and finds his mother kissing his friend, punches the guy in the face, and storms out, right? Or That was like a bad. But you get what I'm saying. So, but the point that I'm making is instead of a guy walks into a bar, an insecure guy walks into a bar, right? That would be just all you need to just describe the protagonist, right? And the goal of the protagonist would be, okay, well, let's just read them. Let's just read some good log lines and not so good, okay? Oh, okay, so this is the game that I wanted to play with you all. So we're gonna play Guess That Log Line. So these 3 log lines are from major Hollywood films, and I want to see if we can guess these after I read them out. And the not so good ones, we're going to see what doesn't work and what we can salvage, and then try to fix them up and go from there. And then after that, you all are going to write your own log line. You're going to break out into about 5 to 10 minutes, and I want you all to come up with your own log line just out of the blue. Okay. All right. So a quirky family determined to get their young daughter into the finals of a beauty pageant take a cross-country trip in their Volkswagen bus. So a quirky family determined to get their young daughter into the finals of a beauty pageant take a cross-country trip in their Volkswagen bus. Anybody know? Yeah. Yeah, that's from Little Miss Sunshine. Yeah. Do we have a description of the protagonist in this log line?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, quirky family. What are they trying to do?
Get their daughter to the beauty pageant.
Yeah, and is there any conflict?
Cross-country road trip.
Road trip, there we go. Yep. All 3 elements. We get a good idea of what the story is about. We can see that it might be a little comedy. Yeah. So we got a good taste of what this story might be about. Okay, this next one is pretty easy. With the help of a German bounty hunter, a freed slave sets out to rescue his wife from a brutal Mississippi plantation owner.
Django Unchained.
Yeah, that's Django. So do we have the protagonist and a good description of the protagonist in this one?
Yes.
Yeah, we got a freed slave. Shit, that alone is a lot. A freed slave, right? Set out to rescue his wife from a brutal Mississippi plantation owner. That's a great log line right there. You have the description of the protag, the goal of the protag, and the conflict. So, and we have the mission, and he insinuates what the story is about without revealing how it ends, right? So yeah, that is a great one. That's a great one. All right, last one. A tough Mississippi. A tough principal takes revolutionary measures to clean up a notoriously dangerous inner city New Jersey high school.
Lean on Me? I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I didn't think nobody would get that. That's old right there. But yeah, that's Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman. Yeah, a tough principal. Yep, description of the protagonist. Takes revolutionary measures to clean up a notoriously dangerous inner city New Jersey high school. So he's trying to clean up the school. Conflict is that it's hard because it's an inner city school and it's dangerous. Yep, notoriously dangerous. Okay, so those are 3 great examples of log lines. All right, so the not so good ones, right? And these are not from specific films. These were just bad log lines that I kind of scraped up from the internet. So yeah. A haughty corporate lawyer is forced to babysit his rebellious 6-year-old niece during New York City's longest power outage. Will they get along or annoy each other to death before the power returns? What doesn't work with this log line?
The question at the end?
There's no.
Yeah, that too. What else? Yeah.
What's the goal?
Right. No goal. Maybe the goal could be to have a successful babysitting session. You know, I mean, that's yeah. We see the conflict.
Right.
There's great conflict in there. Power outage, you're babysitting a rebellious 6-year-old niece during a long power outage. Yeah, that's some conflict for you. But we don't understand what he's trying to do. Maybe if we got a good description of the protagonist, but we don't. That question at the end kind of throws it off. and we don't really have a specific goal. So maybe he has a big case, that he's trying to prepare for. So yeah, maybe that could be his goal or something. I don't know. But yeah, so this is a example of a bad log line. It's kind of overextensive. We don't ever make a log line with a question at the end of it. Will they succeed or will they fail? Like, nah, don't do that. Okay, so next one. A Secret Service agent must risk everything to save the US president he's sworn to protect. Why doesn't this one work?
What is he protecting him from?
Yeah, where's the conflict?
No conflict. That's it. Primarily, the thing that's wrong with this is no conflict. Also, just a little pointer here. Also, a Secret Service agent must risk everything to save the U.S. president he's sworn to protect. That's his job. So what's significant about that? You get me? There's nothing significant about a Secret Service agent risking his life to save the president. He's a Secret Service agent. That's a normal day for him, So a pointer right here would be maybe if you place a Secret Service agent in some type of contrast, something that is out of his element, then you might create some conflict from that. You get me? So you see how conflict can just be created by placing your protagonist in a state of contrast. So if you have a Secret Service agent, he must risk everything to save his sister's daycare or something. So you have a Secret Service agent coming in and helping his sister out with a kid's daycare. That's something that's, opposite, odd, conflicting within itself. Okay. Last one. So over the course of a long hike together, two siblings must come to terms with their best friend's death. Why does this one doesn't work?
It lacks, I guess, like you have kind of like the genre, I guess would be a drama. You have the conflict of like their best friend's death and the setting, but there's not really like you have the goal and like the conflict of like a long hike, but it's nothing, it doesn't feel special.
Yeah, there's nothing exciting happening. I would go as far as to say there is no goal. I don't think there is a goal. There might be a little conflict, the death of a best friend, but over the course of a long hike, two siblings must come to terms with their best friends. So that's like, there's no action. There's no external action going on. You have some internal stuff that is speaking on, which is pretty good. But however, there's no goal. We don't know what they're doing or what they're trying to do or trying to accomplish. Is the goal to come to terms with the death? Even if you want to go with that, I would say maybe throw in, some type of different conflict. So maybe these were 3 triplets or something like that. I don't know. You get what I'm saying? So, and those 3 triplets must come to terms with their sister or brother's death, but are having hard times because they're having nightmares of being haunted by the death. I don't know, something, so, something interesting to make it to where we have a goal and we have a conflict, Okay, cool. So any questions with log lines? I think that was pretty solid. I think we got a good understanding of that. Okay, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna take about, what time is it? 4:46. Let's do 5 minutes. Let's do 5 minutes because I still want to have Q&A at the end. And we still have like character development. So let's take 5 minutes to go and write our own log lines. All right. So I'm going to set a timer for, we're going to do 3 minutes. We'll do 3 minutes. No, matter of fact, I put it on here. Let's challenge ourselves. Nah, we're going to do 3 minutes. We're going to do 3 minutes. Okay. So 3 minutes to just write a log line, anything that comes to your mind. All right, with what we just talked about. And let me put up on screen just so we can have the basic elements of it up All right, and go. Y'all can put it in the chat box. All right, how we doing? Let me see. She like, I was like, nah, I ain't got it. Yeah, it can be tough. Oh, Brianna said if my novel Death Song was to be picked up in that one, stress kind of scene. Okay. Yeah, I like that, Brianna. Yep, you got a protagonist, slight description. Yep, you got the goal. You got the conflict. Yeah, that's solid right there. Okay. India, let's see. A coffee addict faces her worst fears when a well-meaning, attractive person. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, yeah. So we got the description of the protagonist. Faces her worst fears. Okay, so we got the conflict. Instead of Yeah, I would say try to figure out something a little bit more tangible for facing her worst fears. But that's good though. It's good because you see the conflict, and then you're insinuating that her fear is maybe like she's shy. So the attractive barista gives her a coffee, free gift card. So now it's like, okay, well, she freezes up or something like that, or but I would say just try to make that faces her worst fear a little bit more tangible, right? And then that'll be a solid one. Okay, let me see. Sharonda says a Chicago cop placed. Got you. Okay. Yeah, that's some contrast. That's a big twist in terms of genre. However, I'm questioning the purpose of the information of placing him on administrative leave. Do we need to know that? Because what's the major goal here? Or what's the major goal and what's the conflict? We get the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
We get that he's a Chicago cop.
Mm-hmm.
But that goal is kind of sketchy.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't think that we need that extra information.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's solid that you're going in the right direction. Instead of placed on administrative leave, maybe a Chicago cop notorious for solving every crime case. You know what I'm saying? Something with his, yeah, you got me. Something with his cases, to tie it back into the being haunted by those ghosts.
Got it.
A well-decorated Chicago cop, if you
right there, you go.
Okay.
Okay. Always solving the cases.
Right. Okay. Insecure teacher falls in love with the parent. Oh, with the parents. And her choices can be. Okay. Okay, got you. An insecure teacher falls in love with the parents of a student, and her choices could lead her to losing. Okay, yeah. So, and you said no go. Yeah. So I would say that last piece, you gotta. That's a good start. An insecure teacher falls in love with the parent of a student, comma, and is forced to choose her career over love or something like that, or something that just to insinuate that what she's really trying to accomplish. Or maybe if she's a drama teacher, right? So an insecure drama teacher falls in love with the parent of a student, and her program is being compromised, or something like that. So
okay.
But yeah, you're on the right track. And like I said, I just wanted to give us a chance to just get on here and actively work that muscle, because creating log lines is pretty difficult. And it's not a lot, because you're trying to condense all of your ideas into this two sentence blurb, that's a hard thing to do. However, if you stick to those elements, that goal, that description, and that conflict, it'll make your life a lot easier when you rearranging it and everything. Okay, so let's see what Sage says. Ooh, that's good. That's good. That's very interesting. You don't need that to determine if he's mentally competent. You was good with what you have right there. A psychologist seeks to find acceptance in her daughter's murder by taking on her daughter's killer as a patient. Yeah, you got what I would just say. Describe the protagonist a little bit more. What type of psychologist is she or he? Yeah, or she. Instead of seeks to find acceptance, remember, try to be a little bit more tangible, right? When you're pitching things, when you're creating log lines, let's focus on tangibilities, a physical goal, right? Instead of acceptance, or like we was looking at the one with the siblings walking in the park. So try to stay away from those abstract, intangible things. So instead of a psychologist seeks to find acceptance, maybe a psychology seeks revenge, right? And that'll be more interesting. So we got a physical thing, but however, maybe throughout the course of the film, she realizes that, okay, this is not good. So let me just accept. And that goal of trying to seek revenge brings her the acceptance that she got me. So go physical first. Go physical first and let the story is going to give us the emotional journey. You got me regardless. So yeah, these are good. These are really good. These are really good. I wish I owned recovery. Oh, you put something new, India? Yep. Okay. Cafe chain. Oh, got you. Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna put her in a tough spot, ain't it? Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm okay. That makes me feel good. Y'all good. Y'all got these. Y'all got it. Like I say, once you like really continue to work them and spend more time with story structure and just creating more log lines, it'll come to you easy, and you'll find yourself. And also, well, we're gonna get to that later. But I was just gonna say, you want to have at least like 5 to 10 log lines. Just have them, for ideas that you have, so that you can keep those ideas, fresh, and maybe like a folder, portfolio, or something on your computer, and create like little 1-pages for it. But we're gonna get to all of that stuff. Let me just finish up. We got 5 o'clock already. All right. Okay, let's run through character development and the rest of this stuff. All right, so log lines, we got that. Character development. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, you want a 3-dimensional character. You want a character who has a physical goal that they're trying to accomplish that is motivated by an internal goal. Either they are aware of it or they're not aware of it. However, that internal goal and that internal arc is always happening. Because why? Because he or she is a human being. We're all human beings. We all got some internal shit that's going on. It's messing with us all the time. Either we're aware of it or we're not aware of it. All right. Every action that we go through is motivated by some type of subconscious or unconscious programming. In your story, your character is not aware of it at first. Throughout the course of their journey, and throughout the plot points, and throughout the experiences that you choose to place these characters in, they will start to become more aware of themselves. They will start to become more self-aware. They see their flaws, they see their strengths, and now they have to respond accordingly. They have to respond to these newfound awarenesses of their inner journey and their inner emotional wounds or whatever. And that is gonna be the thing that kind of makes that emotional connection between the screen and the audience, or the story and the audience. So in a novel, we see this character who is unaware of themselves, and over the course of these series of events, when the reader continues to read, the tone, even in your words, kind of change, because this person is not the same as they were before the inciting incident, or before this major thing or major change in their life happened. Follow me? So that's what you want to kind of hone in on when you dig into character development. Okay, what is the major fear or emotional wound, and how can you place your character in a situation that is going to force them to face that fear and force them to heal that emotional wound, right? Motivations, agendas, again, all of that stems from their fears and their emotional wound, or the thing that they're the character flaw, the major character flaw, and what they're dealing with. Conflict, trauma. You want to have lunch with your characters. That's basically like sit down and ask yourself a bunch of questions. And how would that work? How would that go? Connect the dots between, and you also want to connect the dots between the external journey and the internal journey. All right. So a character arc is the transformation the protagonist undergoes throughout the story. This transformation is usually a process from a damaged and flawed individual to a well-rounded and wise person by the end of the story. However, the process can also go in the opposite direction, from a seemingly well-rounded to damaged, right? Usually you go from high to low in a tragedy, right? You used to do that all the time in like Greek tragedies. What's the one? Tartuffe. Tartuffe is like I forget who writes it, but it's a play back in, early, I don't know, 1700s, 1800s maybe. Tartuffe is about, I think, what is it, a thief? He's like a con artist, basically, and he goes in and swindles this king, and he tries to, butter this king up, and he tries to marry his daughter and all of this stuff just to take all the man money. And he actually gets away with it, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But the king is pretty much the one who goes through the tragedy. So he seems like this king who's very well-rounded and well-spoken, and he's knowledgeable and he's wise, but he lets this man come in and just swindle him out of his money. And then now he's like, okay, well, maybe I got some stuff to work on, right? So, but you see that in a lot of tragedy. Nowadays, I don't see too many films that kind of display that kind of opposite character arc. Usually you go from somebody to meek to bold, or inferior to superior, something that's going up. But yeah, that's pretty much character arc. Internal motivations versus external motivations. Again, that's just what does the character want versus what does the character need. Okay, so an internal motivation would be what the character needs. External motivation would be what the character wants. All right, try to paint a picture. I'm a high school student, right? I'm a high school senior, boy, play football, well, whatever. I want a car, right? That's an external motivation. That's a want, right? And why do I want a car? Because I want to be popular, okay? That's the popularity is the internal motivation, right? And however, that's not the need. So, well, it is a need, and it is a need. So I want the need to be popular is something that I'm dealing with, and so that's my internal motivation. And this car is going to give me this popularity that I'm seeking internally, right? But where does that come from? That comes from a fear of inadequacy. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, I think we got that, right? I'm gonna go, let me come out and okay. Okay, I got it. All right, so trying to see. Okay. All right, so yeah, internal, external, wants versus needs. All right. Something helpful, GMC. Yeah, yep, yep, great. Yep. Brianna, you own it. You own it. All right, so okay, let's go. Let's continue. Yeah, 5 o'clock. All right, cool. All right. So, and this slide is just so funny. That picture like it's funny. But all right, so David Weishart. David Weishart, get this book, and it's I think he has like something online. If you type in Google David Weishart, how to write great characters, and he has this thing called an enneagram or something like that, and he lists 9 different fears that are attached to 9 different character types, right? So a person who has a fear of failure would be the overachiever, right? The person who has a fear of not being loved would be I guess a brown noser, because they're sucking up to everybody or trying to get everybody to a people pleaser, matter of fact, not a brown noser, people pleaser. So you have these certain fears that kind of motivate and dictate the actions of your characters that place them in these certain specific situations, right? So a person who has a fear of not being loved, right? So they act on that fear by people pleasing. However, people pleasing has gotten them to a great place and a not so great place, because a lot of people like her and a lot of people don't like her, and just as much people don't like her or him or whatever the case may be, right? So now she's or he's placed in this specific situation, whatever you create, to go in and deal with that fear of people pleasing. So instead of being forced to people please, or say, let's, for example, we have this a person who's worked their way up in a corporate office, and they've been people pleasing for X amount of years, and they got to the head, they got to the top. Now they're the CEO, and they realize that they're trying to come in and people please in this CEO position. However, if you people pleasing as a CEO, that doesn't work. So the company starts to crumble. So now you have to find a different way to deal with this fear of being unloved. So you can't worry about being unloved if you're in a CEO, a position of being a CEO. Does that make sense? See how fear, a specific fear, motivates our actions and creates a character type. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I think y'all get that. Okay, connecting the dots, relating character arc to story arc. This is very important also, and that goes back to what Michael Hague was talking about in his 6-stage plot structure. So how do the internal motivations of the character align with the major dramatic question? How does the inciting incident force the character to address his or her wants and needs and fear? Are the characters' unconscious and conscious desires woven into the plot points of the 3-act structure? Are the obstacles that you choose to put your protagonist through forcing a transformation based on the character's strengths, flaws, desires, and trauma, etc.? All right. Okay, real quick, little exercise. Well, how much time do we got? I was gonna do a game with y'all, but we don't have that much time. I was gonna do like guess the fear, but really quick, let me pull up, and I was gonna list like a character from like a movie and try to guess their fear, like Hancock. Y'all remember the movie Hancock with Will Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna like if we can try kind of guess his fear, what would his fear be?
Was it failure? What was it?
Losing something? Fear of losing?
The fear of being connected, I think.
Yeah, I would say maybe like vulnerability, yeah, something along that nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was, just shunned off from society, wanted to be left alone. Probably he had a fear of being loved, or and that just deals with probably like vulnerability. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
I think it was a fear of abandonment, because he even said it at one point. It was like, how terrible of a person was I that nobody claimed me?
Ah, there we go. Yeah, so, you're right. Yeah, definitely a fear of abandonment. Yeah, he did say that. I didn't see it. So that's perfect example. Fear of abandonment. So we see how he drunk himself in a coma and sleeping on benches, and you just disconnect from society, because that is the fear that's motivating your actions, and you're moving in that fear. However, he meets this guy, in this specific situation, to where it forces him to connect with people and to face that fear. And by the end of the film, he finds out that he is in a soul tie with his other half, So anyway, yeah. Fear of being evil, right? And this is David Weishart's How to Create Great Characters. This is like a characterchange.com. He has a book out. It's on Amazon for like $10. But what I did was just, because I'm cheap sometimes, I went and just like kind of looked it up and downloaded like some of the stuff, and I kind of like copied and pasted, and I kind of use them, when I'm doing my character work. So yeah, but the book is actually good. I had the ebook for like a little while on like a free trial or something. But yeah, so fear of being evil. This character is the reformer. So they're always trying to be self-righteous and do the right thing. a fear of being unloved, the helper, fear of being worthless, the achiever or overachiever, fear of being insignificant, the artist, they want to do something different. I have to be outside of the box, outside of the crowd. I'm unique. Fear of being incompetent. All right. So this is the observer. So they're always like on the prowl, intellectual. Fear of being without support, the loyal skeptic. Fear of being deprived, the adventurer. Fear of being controlled, the leader. Right. Fear of separation, the diplomat. Some of these I agree with, a majority of them I agree with, and a couple of them, like the fear of, why would you call the diplomat, a person with fear of separation, the diplomat? That's his explanation for it. And some of them I agree with, some of them I don't, but overall, this is like really, really good because it's gonna help you, really dig into your characters and understand you know, what type of circumstances to throw at them so that they can face these specific fears. And really quick, before we move on to character development, I want to show you all character breakdown chart that I use. Okay, so character, well, this is like an example of one of my scripts. And what I do is I have the main character. I list a little short bio, the character's main misbehavior or their flaw, right? And I have an external goal, what do they want? The internal goal, you know, what do they need, or the why, the what and the why. The fear, you know, I have the conflict, the inner conflict, and I kind of get like a little blurb on that, the flaws or the lies within the character that stand in the way of them achieving their inner motivation. And I have the main dramatic conflict, which is the external, right? So you have the inner conflict, external conflict, internal goal, external goal, the flaws, the background, and then we have the answers to all of these questions. So the central dramatic question, what will he achieve his goal? Yes or no? What's the arc? Travis Baker goes from point A to point B. He goes from, is on a journey starting from selfishness to selflessness, a journey of dishonesty to honesty, a journey of introversion to vulnerability, recognizing true self-worth, okay? And this is for a television pilot, but there's one more question down here. And I wanna, let me see if I can pull it up really quick for features. Yeah, the ending. So you would just have the ending, basically, right? So yeah. All right, cool. And like I said, I'm gonna email you all these templates so you can have everything. Yeah, where are we? We like 15 minutes. 15. All right, so let me see where we at. All right, so yeah, we're about there. All right, so character development. Any questions on character development? Also, I have another thing that I do. I have this list of 40 questions, right? And it asks a question from everything to your character's zodiac sign to their favorite drink or any type of scars on their right toe, or you know, any type of, you know, you want to try to get into the characters as much as you can, just so that you can know how they speak, why they speak, what motivates them, what doesn't motivate them, how they respond, how they react. And all of these little templates, I'm going to email it to you all, and I think that they'll do everybody some justice in terms of character development. All right, so the writing process. You have a log line, you have your structure, you have the gist of your story, first draft time. Let it go, right? You got your structure, you got your inciting incident, you know what's happening out of the inciting incident, you know what happens in Act 1, you know what happens in Act 2, you know what happens in Act 3. Every single scene, you know what happens, you know what's the purpose of it, so you just let your pen go, right? A lot of times, which I used to do a lot also, was write and critique at the same time. You're never going to get anything done when you do that. And it's going to take you forever to write your scripts. If you are critiquing yourself as you're writing, the first draft, just let it be bad. If you're scared of it being bad, it's gonna be bad. Like, you know, it's just let it be bad, you know. And what you'll find out is that at the end of it all, it's really not gonna be that bad, because if you've done the pre-writing work in terms of the outline and the structure and your character development, once you get out and write the script, you'll literally have like a solid piece of work. You have a solid story that's in place and that can potentially, you know, go somewhere after a few revisions and you get some more eyes on the pages. Okay, so don't think once you've done your pre-writing work, do not think, just write as much as you can. And you know, this comes along with knowing yourself also, and you know, managing that work-life balance and that creativity versus paying bills, you know. So because we're all in that type of situation. At the end of the day, the goal is to get your work out published, whether you're writing a book, whether you're trying to adapt it into a film or a screenplay, whether you're trying to write your own screenplay or television pilot, is to get your work on a major platform, you know, to where somebody has faith in your product, you know, your business persons at the end of the day, you know. So yeah, get it out, polish the product up, dedicate yourself to a specific amount of writing time per day. I usually, I kind of experiment with my, I guess, creative muscle a little bit. You know, some days when I can, I just lock myself in the house and just write all day and just see what I can do all day. You know, I block out 8 hours out of the day if I'm able to do that. And I just write based on the outline. Okay, I got my outline, I got this, I got the idea, I got the character development. Let me just block out 8 hours and see how much I can write. Sometimes it's 20 to 25 pages, sometimes it's 2, you know? So yeah, but like I said, if you've done that pre-writing work, you'll at least get a good 5 pages a day. 3 to 5 pages a day will come easy if you know your story and you know your characters. All right. After that first draft is done, you rewrite. You get some eyes on the pages. You submit to script coverage services. The Blacklist does some good work. There's a few other websites that you can submit your scripts to. Pay like $20 to have somebody read it or something like that. I know the Blacklist is pretty expensive. I think it's like $70 for like a full coverage or something like that on the Blacklist. Yeah, like friends that you trust. I have some services. Had to throw that out there. And yeah, so you want to just get eyes on your pages and get feedback, as much feedback as possible, what works, what doesn't work, and you go from the order of operation. You start from structure all the way down to dialogue. All right. 9 times out of 10, once you rewrite, you're going to be polishing up something that maybe fell short in the structure. Okay. But if you have a solid structure and your plot is solid and is good, then you just it's a breeze, because now you're just polishing up for, you know, the aesthetic, you know, the dialogue. How can I make this dialogue more impactful? How can I display the character more? What can I add to it that gives a little bit more essence and feel of the character and what I'm going for with this whole piece, you know? So yeah. Yeah, we pretty much said that. And then, you know, are you going independent, or are you going to a Hollywood executive? You're trying to get it in front of a manager or an agent. What platform are you writing it for? Like I said at the beginning, nowadays, independent filmmaking is taking on a whole new meaning. And you can literally shoot your own film and pitch it to Amazon Prime or to a Netflix or something like that. If you meet somebody at a festival or a networking event, and if they like it, they can do it. You know, they'll put it up and they'll put it on there. I know somebody, his name is Sean Mathis. He's out in Atlanta. I've worked with him a few times before on a couple projects. He's on Instagram. He shot a film called The Plug, I want to say, or Plug Love, one of them. I don't know if it was Plug Love or The Plug, one of them. And it was on Amazon Prime. He shot it himself, you know, came up with the budget, shot it himself, took it to a festival. It didn't actually get into the festival. However, he met an executive from Amazon Prime at the festival, emailed it to the guy. They liked it. They gave him $100,000 to stream it, and he collects royalties from, from it every month. So it's possible. And he doesn't have an agent, he doesn't have a manager. It was just him shooting the film, went out to, I think it was it Tribeca, or was it was one of those major film festivals he went to. It didn't get in, but he met somebody there and they liked it and they picked it up. And just like that, his film is on Amazon Prime. And yeah, so, and also, like I was saying, I don't need to share the screen for this. Yeah, so, and that's pretty much it, but I just want to but yeah, like I was saying, like, once you have that product, the steps after that is to just get it in front of people. And that's a major thing that a lot of us, I know myself, I kind of struggle with that too, because I'm like a perfectionist. So I like have to have, like, oh, this is not ready because I have to polish this, so this is not ready. But I'm slowly getting out of that. Like I said, I just finished a feature, 103 pages. I just gave it to somebody to look at, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. I just shot a short. I just finished another pilot, and I think that's really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get some feedback for it now. But that's just the process. At the end of the day, you're a business person, you're an entrepreneur, you're creative. So you're selling a product. This is America, it's capitalism. So if you have a good product, somebody's gonna buy it. Somebody's gonna take a look at it, somebody's gonna buy it. And you just have to put yourself out there and get in the right space. Yeah, like I said, have those log lines ready, have one pages ready. And like I said, I'm gonna send y'all all of those documents. I didn't show them to y'all today, but let me really quick, let me pull up a one page just so y'all can see what it looks like. One page. Any questions? Let me open the floor up for questions right now, because we were supposed to do Q&A at like 5:15. No questions.
How would you connect with somebody, like when you do meet somebody in the industry? Like, what is the best way to really get a conversation going to connect with them so that they do want to see more of your stuff?
I mean, that's where your networking skills come in at. It depends on the event. Honestly, it just depends on the event. I was at I spoke on a panel for a Google event. I want to say, what was that, 2018 or 2019, one of those. And it was a little event to where I was on a panel. I was speaking about, the writing process and just being a creative in Atlanta, for this girl's company. And, people just come up to you and approach you. Hey, how you doing? I'm such and such. And, I've been here in Atlanta for this, that, and the third. And I like what you said about this, like what you said about that. So just speak, it's just a thing of mingling. I'm not a people person. And, that might be hard to believe, but I'm not a people person. I don't like networking and all that. Like that, that's something that I really do have to work on. I have to work on a better social media presence and all of that type of stuff. But another example, cold emails. I know my auntie, she knows this lady, I guess, well, she knows a lady who has a daughter and they grew up together. And the daughter is now a producer out in LA. And I just posted, a video of my short that I shot a couple of weeks ago. And my auntie saw it and she was like, hey, I think you should talk to this girl because I know her and she grew up in the neighborhood. She's out in California, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, okay, cool. All right. I found her on Instagram. Hey, how you doing? My auntie said I should say what's up to you. So this is me saying what's up. And we had a conversation, and she's pretty cool. She gave me some good information. And she said that she was gonna refer me to her friend who's out here as a staff writer in Atlanta. And she said she was gonna send me an email and loop me in and connect us, but she never did that. So it's like, it's a hit or a miss, So, and also, I posted this workshop, and a friend of mine who's he has a marijuana dispensary out in LA, and he also knows a lot of people in the film industry. And he commented on the picture, and there's this lady who has an organization called the Black Film Allegiance. And, I just went in her DMs and we started talking. So, And yeah, I mean, it's just about networking. Hold on, give me 1 second because I don't want my computer to die. So let me get my charger for like 2 seconds. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. All right. So yeah, what was I saying? Oh, networking, right? Yeah. So yeah. Ultimately, the end goal is to create a good product and to sell that product at the end of the day. You create a good product by perfecting your craft, doing things like this, coming to workshops, picking up stuff. Knowledge is infinite. You can always learn. I'm still learning. I study. What I also do is I study films. I study shows. A show that I'm trying to write similar to, I would go and look up every show that's kind of similar to that, and I would study the structure. Even in television writing, pitching like pilots and everything like that, there's no set structure because every studio and every show is kind of different. Like in Ozark, you might have a 5-act structure, but in Insecure, you might have a 2-act and a tag structure, teaser, 2-act, and a tag, because it's a 30-minute drama versus an hour-long drama. So it varies. So you just have to kind of just study and really understand and try to dig into it. What I used to do, and I need to go back to doing that, is I would like Scandal for instance, right? I would put on Scandal, go on Netflix, put on Scandal, and I'll sit with a pen and pad and I mark off the times, like 15 minutes in, where's the inciting incident, what's going on, what's the normalcy, did they do this, did they do that, did they, and you continue to move forward from there. And also what a good technique is to look at the commercial breaks, because the commercial breaks are usually aligned with the act breaks, right? So if you got 4 commercial breaks in a television program, 9 times out of 10, you have 4 acts. It's a 4-act structure. Or if you got 5 or 6 or whatever the case may be. Another book, Writing the TV Drama Series. Writing the TV Drama Series by, what's the lady name? Just look up Writing the TV Drama Series. Let me type these books in here real quick so y'all can, so y'all can, Writing a TV Drama Series. Save the Cat is another good book. Anybody heard of Save the Cat? Yeah, Save the Cat is a great one. Writing a TV Drama Series, Save the Cat.
Save the Cat also has a version for novelists too. That's how I found out about the.
Yes, they do. Yeah. Yeah, there's a Save the Cat novel version and a screenwriting version. Yeah. The Screenwriter's Bible, David Weishart. Not Davis, David. What are the books? How to Write Screenplays to Sell. That's Michael Haig. Another one is How to Write a Screenplay in 21 Days. I literally did that, honestly. I literally wrote it in like 3 weeks. I was under a deadline and I was under like immense pressure. But after the outline and all of the pre-work, I kind of just like, yeah, it was crazy, but it happened. So it's possible, man. It's really possible. And like I said, just have those 1 pages. Oh, that's what I was supposed to do. Come on, man. What you doing, bro? And this is recorded. Wow. That's my mama. right, so what I was about to do, I was about to show y'all something. The one pager. Let me pull up this one pager template really quick. That is crazy embarrassing. All right. So yeah, this is the one page. I can't believe she did that. This is the one page template. And basically it's, you know, the format, the genre, log line, and a quick synopsis. All right. And that's it. Like I said, I'm gonna email all of these documents that I mentioned to y'all. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so any other questions? Because I know we gotta wrap up for the next session. Yeah, I just got a 2-minute warning. So, any other questions? No? Okay, scale of 1 to 10. How was the the workshop? 10? Yeah, I did that good. Great. Thank you. So did y'all really came, you left with something that you needed? Okay. All right, great. Well, yeah, this has been fun. I enjoyed y'all. I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. I'm glad y'all picked up some stuff. I'm on Instagram at Tim Orange #2. So like I said, I'm gonna get a list from Tamika, and I'm gonna email all of you. I'm gonna get an email list from all of you all, and I'm gonna send all of the documents over. Give me like a day, so you should expect something by tomorrow. And yeah, and that should be that. And like I said, I'll put up my social media in the email and everything, and yeah, we can connect and build. Any questions? I'm here. Thank y'all for coming. All right.
Thank you.
All right.